Somewhere in a dusty attic, or maybe still hanging on a nail in Grandma's kitchen, there's a piece of black iron that's older than your parents'. It doesn't have a coating, it doesn't come with a warranty card, and it definitely didn't come with a warning label saying, "Do not use above medium heat." For over 100 years, cast iron was the American kitchen. Every skillet, every pan, every pot your grandmother owned was heavy enough to build muscle and tough enough to survive a house fire. Then one day, convenience walked in wearing a slippery, shiny coating, and we quietly let go of something we didn't know we'd miss. Today, we're going back into Grandma's kitchen to look at 25 forgotten cast iron tools that non-stick convenience replaced. And by the end of this video, you're going to ask yourself the same question I did. Did we actually upgrade? Or did we just trade something real for something easy? Let's start with the one piece almost every American home once had. The everyday cast iron skillet grandma didn't own 5 flimsy pans for 5 different jobs. She owned one heavy skillet that fried the eggs, seared the steak, and baked the cornbread, all in the same lifetime. Non-stick pans promised easier cleanup, but they also came with an expiration date. Cast iron, seasoned right, only gets better with age. We traded a forever pan for a 2-year pan. 2. The cast iron Dutch oven. Before slow cookers plugged into the wall, Grandma had a heavy iron pot with a lid that sealed in moisture like nothing else. Soups simmered for hours, stews thickened themselves, and bread baked with a crust you can't fake in a non-stick pot. We gained a timer. We lost the flavor that only iron and time can create. 3. The cornbread wedge pan. This one's almost extinct now. A cast iron pan shaped like a sunburst, each wedge preheated in the oven before the batter went in. That sizzle the second the batter hit hot iron gave cornbread a crust no cake pan could ever copy. Today, most people don't even know this pan existed. 4. The cast iron griddle pancakes for a family of 8, all at once, evenly browned, no hot spots. Grandma's griddle sat across 2 stove burners and fed the whole table in one pass. Modern electric griddles are lighter and easier to store, but they rarely hold heat evenly enough to get that same golden edge. 5. The stovetop waffle iron. Long before electric waffle makers had non-stick plates and blinking lights, Grandma pressed batter between 2 iron plates over an open flame. It took patience and a good arm, but the waffles came out with a crunch that electric versions still struggle to match. 6. The cast iron muffin pan heavy, blackened, handed down for generations. This pan gave muffins a crisp golden bottom instead of the pale, steamed bottom you get from a thin aluminum tray. It's a small detail, but it's the difference between a muffin that's fine and one that's unforgettable. 7. The cast iron trivet. Before silicone pot holders, there was a flat iron trivet sitting quietly on the table, waiting to protect the wood underneath from a scorching pot. Simple. Indestructible. Some grandma's trivets are still in use today, 70 years later. Try saying that about a silicone one. 8. The cast iron deep fryer pot. No digital temperature control, no timer beeping. Just a heavy pot, a thermometer clipped to the side, and Grandma's instinct for knowing exactly when the oil was ready. Fried chicken made this way had a crust that stayed crisp for hours. Today's air fryers are safer and easier, but ask anyone who's tasted both which one they'd choose for Sunday dinner. 9. The cast iron tea kettle. Before electric kettles that shut themselves off, Grandma's iron kettle sat on the back burner nearly all day, humming quietly, always ready. It held heat longer, and honestly, it just felt like home the moment it started to whistle. 10. The cast iron meat tenderizer. This wasn't a plastic mallet from a kitchen store. It was heavy, textured iron, built to break down a tough cut of meat into something a family could actually afford and actually enjoy. It taught patience. Today, we just buy a more expensive cut instead. The cast iron sandwich press. Long before electric panini makers, Grandma flattened a grilled cheese with nothing but a smaller cast iron skillet pressed on top of a bigger one. Crispy, golden, perfectly flat. No cords, no settings, just iron on iron. The cast iron Abelskiver pan. A pan with perfectly round wells for making little Danish pancake balls, golden and crisp on the outside, soft in the middle. Most families today have never even heard of this pan, and that's exactly the kind of forgotten tool this channel exists to bring back. The cast iron gem pan, similar to a muffin pan, but deeper and older, used for dense, hearty gems that were more bread than cake. It's one of those tools that quietly vanished when store-bought muffin mix took over the pantry shelf. The cast iron fish pan, long, oval, and shaped just for a whole trout or catfish, this pan let Grandpa's catch of the day go straight from the river to the table with a crisp, even sear. Today's non-stick fish pans are lighter, but they warp under high heat, something cast iron never had to worry about. The cast iron chicken fryer, a deep skillet with a domed lid built specifically for frying a whole chicken and then letting it finish covered, locking in juice and heat. It's part skillet, part oven, and it's almost never seen in a modern kitchen. The cast iron loaf pan bread baked in iron had a thick, dark crust that modern aluminum loaf pans just can't produce. Grandma's iron loaf pan is why old-fashioned bread photos always look like something from a bakery, not a kitchen. The cast iron biscuit pan shallow, round wells that gave each biscuit crisp edges all the way around, not just on top. Non-stick baking sheets are easier to wash, but they can't give you that same golden crust on every single side. The cast iron stovetop toaster. Before pop-up toasters were in every kitchen, a small folding iron rack sat directly over the stove flame, toasting bread on both sides by hand. Slower, yes, but it never once needed a new heating element. The cast iron popcorn popper pan with a hand crank on top, shaking the kernels over the stove until they popped into a pot that never once needed a non-stick coating to keep things from burning. Movie night looked a lot different, and honestly, a lot more fun. The cast iron steak press, a flat iron weight used to press a steak flush against a hot skillet, guaranteeing a full, even sear from edge to edge. Steakhouses still use a version of this today. They just don't tell you it came from Grandma's kitchen first. The cast iron spider skimmer, a skimming tool with a long handle and a shallow iron basket used to lift food gently out of hot oil or boiling water. Modern versions are stainless steel and lighter, but they don't have the same weight and control that made Grandma's version so precise. So here's the real question this video is really about. Non-stick pans gave us convenience. Lighter pans, easier cleanup, less elbow grease at the sink. Nobody's saying that's a bad thing, but somewhere along the way, we also gave up something we didn't put a price tag on. Pans that lasted 50 years instead of 5. Food with a crust and a flavor that only comes from seasoned iron and real heat. And tools simple enough that a 10-year-old could understand exactly how they worked, just by watching Grandma use them. Convenience made cooking faster. It didn't necessarily make it better. If your family still has a cast iron pan sitting in the back of a cupboard somewhere, don't throw it away. Season it, heat it up, and let it cook one more Sunday dinner the way it was built to. Which one of these forgotten tools did your grandma actually have? Tell us in the comments below. We read every single one, and your stories are exactly what keep this channel and this piece of American history alive. If this video brought back a memory, hit subscribe, because next time we're stepping back into another forgotten room of the American home your grandkids have never even heard of. Until next time.